Want to add a pop of color to your day? Join me as we explore how to bring these two tiny ladybugs to life on the page. Many thanks to Ron Berg for the reference photo. Let's get started. Welcome back to Jennifer Broussard Art on YouTube. Today we're going to paint these cute little ladybugs on a leaf, and I'm going to show you how to simplify a complicated photo. I'm going to use 3 colors to also simplify by DaVinci: Red Rose Deep, Arylide Yellow FGL, and Phthalo Blue. And what I'm going to do first is use a kneaded eraser to get rid of some of the graphite that is left by the tracing paper. And I do this so that it doesn't muddy up the colors. I also can get it off of the rest of the paper because the graphite on the paper can rub off. I'm going to start with some yellow. I'm using a number 8 silver black velvet. I'm going to get a light value and I'm going to go over the whole, not the whole thing. I'm not going to do this because that's white. So I'm going to make, this is a light yellow. This is light yellow. I will be speeding up parts of the video because I don't want you to lose interest when I am just filling in shapes. So if I'm going to fill in something that's kind of big, I'm just going to speed it up, and you can pause it and start it as much as you like. I'm going to make a little bit of green because I don't want to put yellow on this. And it's okay if the green goes everywhere. It's going to go up here. I can go right over the legs. This is an area right here where I simplified a lot. It's just too complicated looking on that ladybug on the reference photo, so I just didn't put it in. I left out quite a bit from the reference photo. I just kind of want to do a simple little ladybug painting that anybody can do. Turn it into a card, give it as a gift. I just think that these two little ladybugs are so cute together. A little more blue in the yellow to make it blue, a lighter color or a bluer color. Okay, we've got the first coat on the green, and I'm going to use yellow again, and I'm going to put it on the ladybug's red shells. There's a leg hanging off right here that I didn't put in. I'm going to do the whole face. Now this is all dark. All of this is dark. Okay, let's do this one. Everything is dry, and I'm going to work on the green. I'm going to work on the stem first. So I'm going to get some more yellow and add some blue to it to make a cool pale green. A pretty spring green. Now this one has what looks like a little white patch, like a lighter green patch. So I'm going to just simplify that. I'm not going to draw anything in. But when I paint this stem, I'm just going to leave a little patch. Okay, and now I'm going to do the same thing here. There is a light area above, so I'm going to only paint under. And then with the damp brush, I've gotten all of the moisture out of it. I'm just going to soften that line. You're going to notice that I went out of the lines quite a bit here and here, a little bit up here. And I can fix that pretty easily with an Eradicator brush. I'm going to add a little more color down here. And this was already wet, so when I put some wet paint right up against the line next to the dry paper, the water will take that paint away. And now I'm going to remove a little bit of that. Now nothing is touching this one, so I can work on this one. It's about the same color as that. It's pretty light though. And then up here, nothing is touching up here. So I'm going to work on the shadow underneath the ladybugs. So I'm going to wet above this pencil line. I'm going to go right over the legs and I'm going to fill it in with water. Okay, so I only have this little area wet. I'm going to get the green and I'm going to add a little red to it and dull it down and darken it up. That's sort of a burnt sienna color, and I'm going to add more blue. I want it to be like a dark olive green, so I'm going to add more red. I'm going to add more yellow. Okay, I think that's it. And now on the edge of this shadow, I'm going to put this color and let the water take it away. I'm going to smooth this out. I'm going to add a little more to right underneath this ladybug. A little more pigment. Now I want some of it to be taken up. And sometimes yellow can be used to make some other pigments behave. So I'm adding it up here where I want this shadow to come back down here. A little more green. Okay, I think that'll do it. I think I need green under her face. Looks really weird now, I know. We're going to work on this stem here. I'm going to get a yellowy green. I'm going to add a little bit of that to it. A little more yellow. Okay, and now I'm going to wet this. And I'm going to put in that green pigment that I mixed. I forgot to mention though, if you're not mixing, if you don't want to mix, you don't have to mix. Use whatever colors you have on your palette to just paint this ladyfly. Ladyfly. Ladybug. Okay, now this is lighter. It has some light coming in through it. I'm going to add some more yellow to this. And we're going to leave that just like that. Actually, no, we're not. I'm going to add some more some of this in here. Just like that. And then that dark comes up a little ways, like that. Just going to make this more round. Okay, I'll let that dry and I'm going to work on this one. I'm going to actually put some yellow over this whole thing. So that this isn't so stand out. And I'm going to add some more green. It's a little bit of a mix of this grayish green and the green we have over here. Okay. Get some more of this green and put here. Can't do anything here, can't do that, and can't do that. So I'm going to do this shell. Let's make an orange with some red rose deep. And we're going to add a little yellow to it. A little more yellow. And I really love the bright color. I'm not going to dull it down at all. Okay, now I'm going to wet the shell. Okay, now I'm going to put in some of this color. And because it is over the yellow is going to peek through. I'm going to get a number 4. And I'm going to get the yellow and plop it down here. I don't think that's going to work. A little more water. Lift this up and add yellow. Now to get this darker and do the different variations of oranges and yellow, I'm going to wait for this to dry and I'll do a 3rd layer. Get this line straightened out. And while I'm waiting for that to dry, I'm going to go ahead and do this one. Orange. I'm going to make a little more orange. Isn't that pretty? I love these DaVinci watercolors. I'm going to lift a little bit right here There's a big highlight right here. So a clean damp brush, pretty much a dry brush. And you can lift. Now I'm going to lift a little bit here and add the yellow. We're making these ladybugs loose. We're not going to copy exactly. Before I dry, I wanted you to see that I'm putting some yellow here along this little slit in the wings. There's a little yellow here, and there's this big highlight here that I want to just sort of save. I wasn't able to lift it. The watercolor keeps going right back into it. Okay, I'm ready to make the darker red. I'm going to get some more red rose deep. I'm going to try to make a lot so that I have enough for both ladybugs. Add a little water. And I'm going to leave some of it dark red, and I'm going to make some of it be sort of an orangey red. It's not as orange as what we started with. So I'm going to now actually put these spots on darker. I'm not even sure exactly where they are anymore. Here's a spot. It doesn't matter, we're doing them loose anyway, so just get some spots on. I love that this looks like a heart. And I want to get some of that off. Get the extra off. Okay, I'm going to wet this side. I'm not going to wet inside this little slit in the wings. And I'm going to get this dark red. It's just pretty much red rose deep, and add it back here. I'm looking at values. I'm going to add a little bit like this. Some of this. And to get the orange. And get the yellow. And it's all just sort of blending together. So pretty. Get some different variations in here. I'm going to get some more yellow. And more dark red. I'm going to actually add some of this to that. It made it look kind of purpley. Okay, now I'm going to work on this one. I'm only going to go up to that line where the wing is. Wetting it first with clean water. And then this one's more just orange with that highlight right there. So we know what I'm going to do is take that highlight off right now, and I'm going to steer clear of it. Okay, so now just orange. Which is more yellow than red. And just to make it special, I'm going to add a little bit of the red. I want it to be really colorful and bright and bold. Okay. Now I can do this side. Still using my number 4. I'm going to go around that yellow and get the orange. Okay. And now on this side, I'm going to get more orange. More yellow. And put it here. Don't worry about these little bumps. I'm going to go right over that with black. I'm going to let that dry. And while it's drying, I'm going to work on this. So I'm going to get this green here. And I don't have a line traced. I'm just going to do wobbly line. Starting here and going across. This is how you simplify. You don't have to do exactly what the photo says. And yes, the photo's talking. And that gives it a little bit of curl. I think it does anyway. And I'm going to now soften these edges. I didn't mean to flood it with water. I'm going to add more green. And then I'm going to take water and go all along this top area. I want something with more pigment. So I'm going to use more pigment to make that green. Okay. I know it's very pale in the reference photo, but remember, we don't have to do what it says. Okay. Just lifting. And now my wiggly line is not wiggly anymore. So you know what I'll do is I'll just wait for this to dry and I'll do it again. Some more yellow under here. Now, while all of this is wet, I want to clean up some of my sloppy areas. I'm going to get this Rosemary Co Eradicator Brush and clean it up so I know what to do next. I'm just going to kind of erase. And you see the edge where this pigment has built up? You can just soften that with this and it goes away. Oh, I like that. I'm going to do that. So all along here, you can just force back runs. That's a happy accident. Don't you love when that happens? Okay, that looks good. I'm gonna just get rid of this. Just gonna wipe that up so that it doesn't keep coming down into that light leaf stem. I'm gonna get rid of some of this. This back here is too muted. I probably should have waited to do that. Okay, just dabbing up that extra water on there. I'm going to clean this up right here. I know the water is going everywhere. And this is actually a bent line. I must have dropped water on this. So I want to fix this. This is driving me crazy. So this comes down like that. And like that. Okay, I'm going to soften this and soften this. Okay. And soften this. Now this is just a little too boundary keeping here. This was totally unplanned. I really love that. I'm going to erase this pencil line. And I'm going to kind of straighten up this. So I'm going to wet right underneath there and up next to that. I'm going to add some yellow up here. And then some green down here. And I'm going to lighten by using some water. And there I'm going to have another pigment buildup right there. Oh well. Now this one needs a little more yellow. Okay. Now I wanted to lighten up the green that's underneath the ladybugs. And I want to get rid of that red splotch. I'm going to make a black now. So I'm going to make purple. We're going to get some of every color. I'm getting a lot of red. And I'm not putting a lot of water in it, but I am going to wipe it off these bristles before I rinse. And I want to try making orange and then adding blue to make black. It's not quite orange yet. I always make a purple and then add yellow until it turns black, and then I end up going back and forth like crazy. Get a lot of blue. Okay, that's a really dark blue. I'm going to add some red. And that is a really good dark color. I think I'm going to be doing that from now on. Instead of the purple way, I'm going to do the orange way. Okay, I'm using my number 2 and I'm going to put in the black spots. Don't have to be perfect. These are touching down here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now this one. I'm putting it on pretty thick. And these touch down here. When the wings are together, they must look like a heart. Now on this black head, I want to add a line for the highlight. And it goes down to the eye. And then there's a little triangle there. Same here. There's a highlight. There's actually a yellow shape. And then there's a highlight coming in, over, and out. Okay, I'm going to use the number 2 and get the black. And I'm going to fill in the heads. They have these big yellow patches on the sides of their heads. And then they have these little things that seem like they would be eyes. They have really scary looking jaws, which I'm leaving off. I'm not going to worry about all the little reflections and stuff. I just want the highlights. I do see reflections here, and I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, let's do this head. I'm going to go right over those out of the line things, areas. Okay, this comes down. This goes around here. And that black comes along the edge of the head. And then this is a black eye or something, a black something. This little thing stays yellow, and then the rest of this is black. I'm going to leave a little yellow sliver right there. And now up here, this is a little yellow thing. And I'm just going to fill it in black. I am going to go along the outside of that yellow. There. Okay, now let's do this one's face. This is yellow-ish. This little triangle is next to that highlight. And then these little things look like little eyes. So I'm just going to go around them. And then that's a yellow patch. That's foreshortened. Okay, I'm not doing any jaws, any teeth. They're too scary looking. There's a teeny line between the highlight and this yellow patch. Okay, for yellow, I'm going to put yellow in there, get some of that water out. I'm going to wait for all that black to dry before I do anything else on the heads. And now over here, I'm going to get the number 4 brush. I'm going to get some of this dark, and I'm going to add it. I have a line here, and I decided that I didn't want all this black here, but I think I need that because I think it's the underside of the other wing. So I'm going to go like that. I'm going to go up to the face, and I'm going to come down to the leaf. Ignore that middle line. It touches the leaf. Comes down further, all the way down to the leaf. And I'm going to go, okay, this has some little detail or something, and I'm going to do this. And I've lost the legs altogether, so I'm just going to wing it on the legs too. I'm going to get my number 2 again, and I'm going to do the legs on the right hand side one. I can still see a leg here, and it's bent at the knee, or what would be a knee, and it has a little foot. This one does that, and then there's a little bump behind it. And then it has a brownish, kind of a brown one. I'm going to make a little bit of brown. I just took some of this bluey gray and I mixed it with some of this orange and yellow. There's some kind of mark there, and there's another one there. And then we need another leg on the other side of the bug. I'm going to darken this. Now the other side of the bug's going to get this color. And I'm going to go That's what it looks like. Okay, now I think I need to also make this be leaf. I think this needs to be leaf. I'm going to get this light green and fill it in. I'm going to actually use my number 4, get some of this green, and go all over this shadow again. I'm going to do this little highlight now. I'm going to add a little blue. And then I'm going to just take some pigment from over here and add it in. Just disturb it a little bit and let it blend. I have a little too much water. This is really white right here, so I'm going to leave that alone, and I'm going to make that whiter with my Eradicator brush. And then there's a little bit of the black also coming over onto this yellow patch. And now they look the same, so we're going to have to do something to this to make it look different enough from that. Okay, but we'll do that when it dries. Now they're going to do the same thing on these little eye things. Take up some of the water with a damp brush. And now this one also has a little bit, it's dulled down a little bit. Okay, same thing over here. Now on this one, I'm just going to do the same thing I did over here and leave a little sliver of yellow. And I think after it dries, I'll add a little blue. I think I was premature in adding the blue here. I'm going to add some yellow to this. And then this yellow patch, I think it just needs more yellow. Maybe a little bit of pigment from the surrounding, but not much. I don't even like the yellow on there. I'm just going to add a little pigment from the surrounding area. Just a little bit. And then the eyes. So this thing here also has a highlight. So I just wet it and I'm going to dab it off. Same here. I'm going to wet this and dab it off. And then I'm going to have some of this pigment come up onto these. Same here. And now everything looks a little more cohesive. I don't love that this is here. I wish I hadn't have put that on there, but I can fix that with the Eradicator brush, which I think I will go ahead and do now. I want this highlight. Oh, that looks good. Okay, and now I'm going to fix this pencil mark. I don't want these pencil marks on here. Okay, now I want to highlight over here. That's actually a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. And now I'm going to do this highlight. And soften this highlight. Okay, I'm going to let that all dry, and while I'm doing that, I'm going to figure out the legs here. And so I'm going to actually add some more shadow I just added this green to this black color that we made. And I want to have this shadow comes all the way out here. I'm going to soften that. And it is under the Ladybug's legs. And soften that. Down brush. And then it comes up here and under those legs. And I'm going to soften that. And then it comes a little ways out here, like that. And I'm going to soften the edge. Okay, I think I can do the front leg. I'm going to get my number 2, get this black color, and the front leg comes from over here, down, and then there's another leg. It has little claws. Now I'm going to take this and come over to the head and kind of fill it in. I like how when that claw hit that damp paper, it bloomed out into what looks like her furry feet. Okay, some more of the black. And I'm going to just put just these shapes that I'm seeing. I'm seeing these kind of leggy shapes. It doesn't make any sense to me, but that's how it looks on the reference photo, and I'm going to go with that. Now I'm going to redo the wavy line here. I love all the texture that we got on here by mistake. So I'm just going to take my number 4 and get some watery, yellowy green and do this again. And then over here, we have a little bit of shadow. And then that's not any shadow at all. So I'm going to soften. I'm just going to leave it like this. I think that looks cute. Shadow looks good. I'm going to darken it a little bit, get some of this green, and I'm just going to darken it right in here, just in some spots. It's a shadow that has different colors in it. Soften. Like right here, it's not very dark at all, but then under, it's darker. And then over here, a little bit darker. Okay, now I'm going to do a second coat of the black on the heads. Now this line comes like that. I'm going to add a little blue to this highlight, but not down there, only up here. Tiniest little amount. And that will help it look different than that. Okay, I think that's good enough on that one. Okay, now this is really dark from here. I do see some red reflections, but I'm not going to do those. Okay, now this is dark. I'm going to add a little bit of blue to this highlight. I'm actually going to add a little more to this one. Don't they look cute? I'm going to make a purple. Little blue, little red rose deep, and I'm going to add it back here. A little bit of red. I'm going to straighten up this line back here on the top. Wow, that gave it a lot of dimension. Wow. Whoops. Okay. And I think this one just needs a little more attention down here. I'm going to give it a little bit of this purple so it's even on both sides. So all the colors are on both ladybugs somewhere. Going to soften. Going to get some yellow. I don't want to disturb the pigment on these black spots. Some purple back here. I am done for the tutorial, but I think that you could add anything you wanted to the background. I think this would be really cute with some bokeh in the background, or maybe some splats. And I wanted to tell you that I just used my Eradicator brush to get this red off, and you can barely tell it was even there. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and that you learned a little bit about creating contour and shadows and some really cute ladybugs. Thanks for watching and have a great day.